What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Martin Bakole. Daniel Dubois, get this. Martin Bakole is ready to face Daniel Dubois next. If they're looking for an opponent for February, he's ready to step in. He beats Daniel Dubois, and then he can unify the division. And that's by Shalom on Daniel Dubois' next opponent choices. And let me counterpunch. Guys like Zhang, Bakole, Parker, those guys, yeah, they're possible picks, but understand when you had in your mind or your hopes to get a much bigger fight for a much bigger payday, like a rematch with Anthony Joshua, for example, those other fights, they seem like, okay, that's cool, but I really wanted that fight. It's like when someone offers you a job for like, hey, you got a job for, you can make $80,000 for this job for 6 months. And then you find out that job falls through, but hey, there's another job you can make for 20. You know what I mean? Then you're kind of like, you know what I mean? 20 doesn't sound as appealing or rewarding because compared to 80,000, it's not. You know, Martin Bakole is a $20,000 job in retrospect. You know, he probably would make 2 or 3 million, but there's not a lot of money in it. You know, Eddie Hearn said that, you know, made that point earlier. Like, listen, you know, there's no money in these guys fighting them. Yeah, it's probably a tough fight because Martin Bakole is a guy that's a pretty good fighter. And he's a good counterpuncher, too. We've seen that in the Anderson fight, you know, and it would really be intriguing to see a fight between those two. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see it. I'm just imagining how the handlers will handle a particular decision of fighting someone like Bakole. He's just dangerous. It's like, yeah, that's great, but I mean, it's a award, but, you know, with the reward, it's not worth it. You know what I mean? Especially when you thought that you had Anthony Joshua in your crosshairs once again. You know what I'm saying? Shalom, you know, he's eager to get Martin Bakole back out there. He's been trying to push Bakole to wherever and whoever would open that door because he's been doing a lot of knocking for Martin Bakole. Well, Martin Bakole, he might be too good for his own good. You know, the way he did Anderson, that contender, that guy that they were pushing to be the next heavyweight champion, that that all said and done, he beat him to the point that, man, he shouldn't have been in there in the first place. Well, how many other fighters did they look at like that when they think of Bakole? They think and they revert back to that beating Anderson took. So, you know, not saying Danny Dubois doesn't want to fight him. I'm not saying that because I think Danny Dubois is like, hey, bring him on. I'll retire him. And I think, and I love that energy, you know, but I know that Daniel's not picking his fights, just like Anthony Joshua's not, obviously. So, you know, the best thing for them, that's a reason why they're promoters, because they give good advice and good matchmaking. And if need be, they will step in and say, no, we're not going to let you do that, man, because, you know, you don't fail. We fail if you fail because we fail. Because we put you in there with the wrong person, right? So I do think that's the issue with Martin Bakole and Daniel Dubois. I think it would be an absolute war, honestly. You know what I mean? Because Martin Bakole is young enough. He's in his prime right now. He's a big dude. He's like 285. Daniel Dubois is what, like 250? So he has him by like 30 pounds. So fighting a big guy like that, you know, that has fast hands, that's not a Jarrell Miller, that's not overweight, that, you know what I mean, that can punch you quick, and he has fast hands, slow feet, but fast hands. I would love to see a fight like that. You know, we can see how Daniel deals with that type of fighter. But one thing what gives him a good chance of beating Bakole is his footwork. You know, Daniel just not in there coming at you. He's in there, you know, stepping around just like he showed us in the Jarrell Miller fight, even though that was a totally different fight. But he did have, you know, Jarrell Miller coming at you like Martin Bakole will be coming at you. You know, instead of a rhino, you'll have a buffalo, right? So then Bakole. So I do think that would be a good fight, but will it more likely happen? No. You know, this is boxing. It's not, you know, it's not under the Thunderdome. You know what I mean? So it won't be that hard for him, you know, because and then people would expect that, but you know, people are not really pushing for it based on the fact that he's going to have to fight Martin Bakole anyway. And they could look at it like that. They could think, well, you know what? If he beats Caballo, we're going to have to fight him anyway. But knowing them, they're probably going to allow that to happen just so Daniel can fight someone else to get another notch under his belt, some more money in the bank. He has a baby coming. So why bother with a tough fight like that right now when that tough fight will eventually come anyway? So let's just kind of prolong that a little bit. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of Ben Shalom stating that Martin Bakole is ready. He will beat Daniel Dubois if given the opportunity and will become an undisputed heavyweight champion. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!